It is 5:11 in the morning. I'm Erin.
I'm Mike.
I'm Kyle.
And tonight on the Sleepy Nerds podcast, we are delving into the drought-resistant gardening techniques of Tom Woodruff Jr.
1, 2, 3. Listen.
Gobble, gobble, gobble! Hey, everybody. This is our first post-Justice League being released in theaters podcast, but none of us have seen it yet because we pre-record.
Way to give away the secret of recording, Erin.
Fucking Oz is great and powerful over here, man. You just lifted the veil in the first 30 seconds.
You posted photos of us recording the Halloween episode on Instagram in like mid-September. This one actually isn't that far in advance, thankfully. But
you guys, just
happy Thanksgiving, everybody!
Giving away our whole operation.
Yep. Are we talking about Justice League today, or my metal band I just came up with?
Justice League.
All right.
Hey,
So-
perfect sync.
All right. We're going to talk about high frequency turkey gobble later. I guess we're going to talk about Justice League today.
Yeah. Our end segment is best Thanksgiving-themed metal band names.
Kyle wins.
Yeah.
Surprise!
Kyle just gave away his...
Gravy boat to hell.
Damn it! He came up with another brilliant one just on the spot.
How do you do that?
This is like something he's actually been preparing for like
planned for
15 years. He's
I've
just been
waited
writing
my whole
these in
life
a
for
notebook.
this moment.
Yeah. No, we're not talking about any of that today. We're talking about Justice League stuff.
Yay.
That's it. That's what you're really.
We're all really excited to talk about.
I feel like I'm the only one that actually is excited.
I'm tentatively excited for this movie. We've talked about it before.
At the time of this recording, I am still cautiously optimistic for the movie.
I am currently hopeful.
That's as much as any of us could do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you feel like we're all on a train and we could like lean out the windows and see that there's no track? Or at the very least, there's just a wall of fog and you can't tell, but you hear people screaming from within the fog.
Sure.
I feel like
And it's either in fun or just like abject terror.
I feel like something similar, except in my case, I see lights in the fog, so I know that there's something to go to.
Mm-hmm. But it might be aliens.
Yeah.
And they're going to just probe the shit out of you.
I'm okay with aliens. I'd even be okay with parademons at this point. I don't give a shit.
Nice tie-in.
Hey!
So if you want to talk about the general state of the DC universe as it stands now, Erin, that might be a little bit hard for you.
Oh my God.
Since-
I was like, well, I don't know if I can talk about like the state of the Justice League. I haven't seen all of them. And then I thought about it and realized Suicide Squad is the only one I haven't seen. And since then, Kyle's like, well, since you don't know anything about the Justice League cinematic universe.
When did you watch Man of Steel?
Man of Steel, when it came out.
When did you watch Batman vs Superman?
On a plane. Like, what plane was that?
Good.
I think it was
Good.
Christmas before
Okay.
last. I think it was on the way back from Japan.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman in theaters. I saw it twice in theaters,
Okay,
so that's
well.
the most recent, obviously. But
I've unfortunately seen Wonder Woman's good. It was okay. I've unfortunately
Wonder Woman's
seen
good.
all of them in theaters. I didn't see Man of Steel in theaters because I'm not a Superman fan. I don't really care.
But you saw Suicide Squad in theaters.
I did.
You mean Oscar-winning Suicide Squad?
Yeah, the
Stop.
Oscar-winning movie
Stop.
Suicide Squad. Starring Jared Leto.
Hey, that award is going to be tied to that movie forever.
Yeah, when they eventually release the
all they
special
have.
Oscar-winning special edition Suicide Squad.
Surprise, all the Joker footage in there.
Suicide Squad is really interesting because it's just a complete shit show. It's the only movie I've seen in theaters. Like, my
The
wife
only movie
Jess.
you've seen in theaters?
My wife Jess does not care about like editing or stuff like that, or like behind the scenes movie stuff. And she's like, "Who the fuck edited this movie?" Like, people in the theater were like talking there the entire film because we were so confused. It's so fascinating. It's such a train wreck.
That's like like when I notice the soundtrack on things, it's like you know that there's like something unusual going on.
Suicide Squad. This isn't going to be a whole Suicide Squad thing because, I mean, at this point, what hasn't already been said about it? But even the soundtrack for Suicide Squad, I feel like there's an
all over the
executive.
place.
An executive just saw a trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're like, "Hey, like, we have a lot of like pop songs from the '70s in our movie, right?" It's like we have one. all right, we need 75 of them.
You know what was weird? When they put out the trailer, they had the Queen version of Bohemian Rhapsody in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
On the released soundtrack, they had the Panic at the Disco version of Bohemian Rhapsody, but in the movie itself, they had the Queen one. I was like, the fuck? What happened here? It's like maybe they just couldn't get the rights to sell the Queen version, so they just put it in the movie.
Do you think Freddie Mercury actually rose up out of his grave to
Yes.
stop that from happening? Because
Yes.
that's what I think.
That would have been a way more interesting villain for Suicide Squad.
I feel like the only good part of Suicide Squad is the end credit scene where Amanda Waller is giving Bruce Wayne like the files on the
Yeah, and I
Justice
looked
League
that
members.
up, so that's all of
They
the
could have
credit
just
scene.
released that as like a
when,
Marvel one-shot.
When
style
Erin
thing.
said she didn't see Suicide Squad, I said just watch that end scene and you'll be set for Justice League.
And I went home and did that. So.
And do you
Wait.
feel ready for Justice League?
Yeah.
You didn't tell her to watch the 45 minutes of introductions?
Ugh.
Anyway, we've complained about Suicide Squad before. We've complained about the state of the Justice League universe.
I feel like we could all pretty much agree
Justice
that
League
like
universe,
the
DC.
shining spot of the DC universe so far is Wonder Woman. And I feel even that was like, it was an okay movie. I think
I think it was a good movie.
Gal Gadot is a good Wonder Woman, and that's all that's all that had to have happen.
Yeah.
They had to get one sympathetic, fun character,
Yeah.
and even if the movie was like garbage, which it wasn't, it was a good movie.
No, it was good.
Well, I
But-
don't totally agree with that because I feel like the general consensus about Batman vs Superman was like Ben Affleck was a good
Yeah.
Batman, but even that couldn't save that movie. You
Well, that was
know?
like 3.5 hours long of just like garbage
Yeah.
piled on top of that.
Right,
It's
so
like-
I'm saying like it's definitely it takes you a long way to have that sympathetic or like good, enjoyable hero character, but also it can't completely carry you. I liked Wonder Woman.
I
I
did
now
too.
wish that we just talked about the universe because I have a lot to say about your it's just okay. But
No, I mean,
No, I liked it. I just don't think it was like the best. I mean, it had like a weak third act. I mean, every superhero
you have a
movie
weak
has.
Yeah.
third act.
All right, mom.
Why did your mom say that? That's so specific.
I feel like with Batman versus Superman, yeah, Ben Affleck was a highlight, but I also feel like Jeremy Irons was a highlight as Alfred. I really,
yeah.
I
I did-
really liked him as Alfred.
So yeah, you told me to watch that scene from the end of Suicide Squad. I watched that, and then I was rewatching some of the like cave scenes from Batman Superman
Yeah.
because it had been so long since I saw it, and I was like, I think I came into work the next day and told both of you, I was like, I forgot about Sexy Alfred. That movie is way better than I remember.
Just
I
the way
totally
he-
blanked that out.
Did you watch
just the way he acted, like the sarcasm and everything.
Yeah,
like,
he was a good Alfred.
yeah, because that's how Alfred is. Like,
It reminded me like the animated series Alfred.
yeah, Alfred is just
Yeah.
like snarky.
Yeah, like super.
Did you watch the cave scene where Ben Affleck trained for 5 minutes so he could fight Superman?
I didn't know.
That was pretty cool.
I was watching
He
the
was
one where he.
reconditioning. Okay?
Oh,
He was
okay.
getting himself
He's like
ready.
hitting this hammer,
He's
hitting
always
this
in
tire
shape.
with a hammer is almost like fighting God. So I'll just do that.
That was a little bizarre.
yeah.
But he
Enough of
never
that.
stopped crime fighting,
So
so he
we're-
was always in shape.
Actually, in opposition to what it may seem like so far, we're actually going to talk more about like comics Justice League
We are. But
rather than movie.
I feel it's important because the new
DC.
movie's coming out. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think they might be veering.
Still hopeful.
I think DC, their main problem is like they're just doing like in real time whatever seems to be the popular thing. They're like, oh fuck, do that because they've gone back now and
Guys, I tried to get us back on track. I apologize.
because now like Wonder Woman's become like the main focus of the movie. I feel, and she's like going to be in the Flash movie supposedly.
Well, because they're doing Flashpoint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
she has to kill some children, as I said
But
last
I
time we talked
definitely
about this.
feel like once they brought Joss Whedon in, everything we've seen since that happened has been somewhat positive. So I'm hopeful.
well, like Erin said, we're going to be talking more about the comic book Justice League today. I feel the Justice League is one of like, even over the Avengers, I'd say they're like the core super team.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
think
for
like a
sure.
superhero team, I think the Justice League.
Yeah. I agree.
I think DC's strong points are in having some very strong sort of cultural touchstones. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice
Well, that's what I was
League.
going to say. Like, when you think Justice League, I know in comics there's been several different Justice League teams and different iterations, but for the most part, there's always the core group. Like,
Justice League Detroit, yeah. Vibe.
by
And
anyway,
Vixen, yeah.
but for like the main Justice League, it's always like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, a Green Lantern, the Flash, and then that 6th or 7th slot is always like a. or, I'm
Martian
sorry,
Manhunter,
Aquaman is always most of the time is like a mainstay,
Oh
but
man, I didn't even write down Aquaman.
but then other times they like swap out that main
Didn't
role.
even
But when
occur
it
to
comes
me.
to like Avengers and comic books, I couldn't tell you who's on the current Avengers team right now. They just swap it out.
I mean, yeah, it's like a crazy rotating roster.
Yeah. I mean, now when most people think of Avengers, they think of the movie team. So Iron Man, like the original team. But
Yeah.
now in the comic books, it's just all over the place.
Yeah.
Like Hercules is on the Avengers.
They switch Avengers lineups so fucking much. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
every year.
And I feel even with the Justice League, there's always at least like one or two like staples left behind. Like Avengers has some fucking like bizarre teams.
I mean, with Justice League, for the most part, you always at least have the Trinity. You always have Batman, you always have Superman, you always have Wonder Woman. In some form or fashion.
I really like my favorite Justice League personally is Justice League International, and you'll see that in a second. I really like the story of they took after the Justice League International came about after the first Crisis event, and all these characters were off the board they couldn't use anymore, but they wanted the Justice League back. And when they looked at the characters they had left over, who they could put on the league, the DC editors had so much, they felt so bad for them because it was like Fire, Guy Gardner, Blue Beetle, and they're like, oh shit. They let them have Batman out of pity.
It's like, here, just try not
Pretty
to,
much, yeah.
try to make this good.
Yeah, just, you know what? You got this, kiddo. Buck up.
And it really reads like that, and I love it. So, do you just want to, like, each one of us can go, we'll announce our entire league at one time, and we can kind of discuss
Yeah, well, do
it?
you want to go over the framework that we gave ourselves for this?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
So yeah, so we decided to look at this to each come up with. Did we decide on 7? About a Justice League of 7. What our sort of ideal team would be, and we themed it around the common 12 archetypes. So selecting from those sort of. I'm sorry, my brain just died. Those personalities or personas, I guess. Who fits into those roles and how do they interact with each other? At least that's the approach I took.
Mike absolutely did the same thing by the look he's given us.
No, I didn't do any of the archetype shit because,
Well,
I mean, I've been reading comics for so long and watching TV shows and movies. I picked the characters that I know have good chemistry and work well together.
that makes
I mean,
sense.
they
See,
can
that was
they'll
my,
butt heads, but they agree a lot of the time.
Yeah, that was my approach because I was feeling like at some point I'm just like picking characters that I like and I'm like I just want to see them because I just like this person. So I was taking that approach in part because I was like, yeah, what is like missing from this team? If it's just 7 Batsmen?
My original pick was just the Bat family, and Kyle told me I couldn't do that, so I had to dig a little deeper.
Did any of us not put Batman on the list?
Did you?
I did.
You put Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I put
Of course
Batman.
did. Yeah.
I'm saying,
so
did
Batman,
anybody
shoe in.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I think she was saying, did anybody not pick Batman?
Yeah, I was like, I was writing it, and I was like, obviously, like we're all going to put
I
Batman.
mean,
on
Batman
here
was
somewhere.
kind of, because he's my favorite character.
gotta
He
have
was-
Batman.
He was the kind of the framework for my team. I picked my team based on characters that I knew that he worked well with, even though he sometimes butted heads with.
I had like a few different, because, I was trying to fill these roles, and he was kind of like my detective role.
Yeah.
So I had some like detectives listed, and it was like Batman, and I had Elongated Man. But I was also trying to like modernize. But I thought like Batwoman for a while, but like she's never really been played as like a team player.
Except in the current run of Detective.
Yeah, I know she's a detective
but that's
now, yeah,
a
but-
whole nother story.
Yeah,
A good story, by the way. I do
thought
like
she'd
that
be
book
like-
very much.
See,
I like her character, and she's like visually like cool looking. So I thought she'd be like cool on a team. But I'm not really familiar with the new run of Detective. I only read her solo
awesome.
issue before New 52,
So
and she always kind of came across as like she wasn't.
the
player.
current
See,
detective run is Batman, Red Robin, her, Spoiler, kind of, Orphan, which is Cassandra Cain, Clayface, Azrael, and Batwing.
Weird.
But it is like there are a couple of characters that aren't on the team anymore, like Spoiler's not around because something happened with
Yeah.
Spoiler, because something happened with Red Robin.
Hey.
So, but that's a whole that's a long story. But for the most part, Batman is just there as like an advisor, and she's pretty much leading the team.
You know.
I can see that. Well, I was gonna say 2 things. I was considering, like, I was like Batman or like Tim Drake, Red Robin could be, I think, fill that same role. But it is like you sort of need that human detective side. I also was gonna say Batgirl. I had her as Oracle in there as that sort of caregiver role. I feel like that's a better position for her in terms of like Justice League as that like sort of support and information persona.
Okay.
That's
So,
just.
yeah, now that we've
She
like
didn't make my final cut of 7, but.
Well, okay, now that we've kind of like filled out like how we selected these,
Mm-hmm.
what do you guys want? Which one do you guys want to go first?
You go first.
Okay, I can do that. All right, so my core of 7, I have Batman as my detective role.
Sure.
I figured all the leagues need a Flash. I wasn't really sure like which Flash I wanted to go with. I think I'm gonna go with Barry Allen,
Oh yeah, it just makes
yeah.
sense.
Sure.
The original.
the classic Flash. Zatanna is kind of like my magical element. Then I want an everyman character, and I was stuck between Blue Beetle and Animal Man.
Kyle, our lists are like disturbingly similar so
Oh no!
far.
All right, I chose Animal Man.
Okay, choose Animal Man because I didn't write him down.
I chose Animal Man because I like he has that everyman human aspect, but he also kind of has like that like magic carryover as well, just being like attached to the red and everything.
Yeah,
Booster Gold,
of course.
Power Girl.
What's wrong with that Blue Beetle?
I know that was my thing too. I was like,
That's why I put Blue Beetle in there
I
as
was like,
everyman because I was
can
like,
I really like split up Booster Gold and Blue Beetle? And I figure I can. Booster Gold, then Power Girl as my kind of like Superman analog, like my heavy hitter.
Yeah.
And then Big Barda because I wanted like kind of a new god space character in there. And also it's weird because I was like, oh, you can't really have Big Barda that Mr. Miracle.
That's what I
But
was
I'm
gonna
like,
do.
you know what? I want to see her. I like her too a lot, like her characterization, and I think it'd be cool to see her kind of strike out on her own, and also be kind of. I watched this cartoon with my daughters. It's DC superhero, like Supergirl Squad or whatever.
Superhero girls.
Yeah.
Don't
And-
ask me how I know that.
we all know how you know that.
I don't have kids.
Fucking nerd.
Go
That's
on.
fine. No, it's like I watch it with my 2 daughters, and like it's a legitimately well-made show and has some really deep-cut characters. And Big Barda is one of the characters
Well,
on there.
that's like
Yeah.
the original Justice League cartoon and the original Batman cartoons. Like there were a couple episodes that were really deep, and it was a kids show. Like fucking one of the episodes won an Emmy.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some. I had a Green Lantern on here for a while, and I couldn't decide which one I wanted because I'm like, well, if I make it Guy, then I'm leaning too close to like Justice League International. Like, I don't like Hal Jordan's kind of boring to me. I don't like Kyle Rayner. I think he's this fucking dopey ass Green Lantern. And then I'm like, John Stewart's kind of the Green Lantern I grew up with just from the cartoon.
Yeah.
I like John Stewart, but then I feel like having John Stewart and Batman on a team together, you have that kind of like. You have that like dad character twice,
Yeah.
because really they're like the Justice League dad at that point. You have these like kind of like
Yeah, I was gonna say like
militarized-
super like dry leader, non like straight.
yeah,
man
like, listen to
kinda.
me,
Yeah,
you know, like with that kind. And I feel like those two, if this was a comic, the entire comic would be like, you know, Green Lanterns kind of notoriously don't like Batman anyway.
Yeah.
So you'd
Yeah,
have
why?
these-
Why is that?
I think it's just from Green Lanterns like representing the light.
I
Yeah,
have some
guess.
fan fiction to answer that question.
Hey, cool.
Anyway,
Quick question: does it involve those two fucking each other?
Kyle, look,
Okay,
you
moving
need
on.
to read a little deeper than that.
I bet they do.
But they're not reading. Hey,
So who wants to go next? Yeah.
Erin, why don't you take over?
I want to say I also didn't put a Green Lantern on the list. A, because I find Green Lanterns inherently uninteresting. I also only very reluctantly put Flash on, and he didn't make the final cut. He made my list of 12, but not the final cut. I feel like, and spoiler, I did put Superman on mine.
Okay.
I feel like with Superman, why do you need a speedster? Like, and
That's a fair point.
That is,
I
yeah.
do like Barry Allen Flash more than I like Superman
Yeah.
in general. Like, I feel like he's more quick-witted and has like more interesting uses of his powers. But it is sort of like, oh well, like someone's moving super fast. Okay, well, like send Superman after him.
Yeah.
And when he gets there, you can just punch him through the
Yeah.
earth.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of. I mean, with Barry, or like at least with Barry, you have like the detective aspect too. But like he's
Yeah.
got other abilities that Superman doesn't. Like obviously,
Yeah, sure.
that sometimes
And
they're
I-
more
well-
effective in a situation.
Yeah, I also find I like Superman more in a team setting. I like him more if he's like part of Justice League or like a World's Finest thing or
Yeah.
you know something like that. That's just more interesting to me because he's sort of like has a foil and has someone to work with and he doesn't have to be everything because like when Superman tries to be everything, that's when it becomes the most boring. It's just like he can do anything and also he's intelligent and also nothing ever like troubles him. So I think it's good to give him
I
someone
like
to play
Superman
off of. Mm-hmm.
as that kind of like a blue sky hero, and I'd also agree like when he's kind of put up against someone, you know, especially Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I think that first run of Batman Superman, the was it Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness?
Yes.
I think that run I really liked just because seeing those two interact with each other,
It was well done.
It was well done. Yeah, just like seeing how they viewed each other.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. And I think that's why I put like Flash in my team. I wanted that kind of like blue sky, positive hero.
Yeah.
So
I'd argue that's more like Wally than for Flash.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always feel like Wally was a little bit more like, he was fun as a Flash, but I think him coming right after like the death of like Barry Allen, he was a bit more, had that kind of like torturedness to him.
Sure.
For a little bit at least. But no,
You need to
keep going.
finish your
Anyway,
list.
yeah, so my list, I'm looking at now like it's kind of magic heavy actually, but so I had Captain Marvel,
Shazam.
yes, not the wizard.
Shazam!
Captain Marvel / Shazam.
Jay Rochelle.
No,
No, Zachary
Oh,
Levi.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi. Anyway, go ahead there. I'm sorry.
Blue Beetle,
Which Blue
which
Beetle?
I had Ted Cord.
Okay.
So I had either Blue Beetle and Booster Gold or Constantine and Green Arrow, just because those are filling two different. So I had like Blue Beetle or Constantine as more the everyman, and I had Booster Gold or Green Arrow as the jester. And I feel like see, this is where it comes down to I like them, I want to see them. That's why I'm putting Blue Beetle and Booster Gold on mainly. It's like I like seeing them together. I want to see them play together. But I also feel like Booster Gold especially is more, what they've done with him in comics is like he's more useful when he spins off on his own, sort of the opposite of what I was saying about Superman. Like he has more effective things to do when he's off in the time stream and dealing with things on his own than he ever is like in the league.
When people are like acting like just like shitting directly.
Yeah, and being like, go do crowd control, and he's like, oh. So
Oh, man.
yeah, in a non Jay Baruchel voice. So
Anyway.
Oh, geez, guys. Yeah.
Was he Morty now?
so we'll go with then Constantine Green Arrow maybe, and then Batman obviously, and Zatanna, Wonder Woman, and Superman.
Cool. Okay.
That was my lineup.
I'm interested, like, why? Because I also picked Zatanna. Like, what was your reasoning for her?
I feel like I just, as a very solid, well-rounded magician, I think that she's good at that. It's like Constantine, I mean, is obviously a powerful magician, but a lot of his stuff is like, I don't know, it feels more like he's like more specifically focused on demons, kind of.
Yeah, I consider him more
like,
dark arts than actual magician.
Yeah, like when his stuff comes up, it's all very like dark and twisted, and
Yeah.
she's more like she can just do anything with magic.
I mean, I put her on one because I like how she interacts with the rest of the league. Like Batman, she was always had like a kind of a fun relationship with. Because I also had I had Dr. Fate and Constantine as my other two like magic
yeah.
options.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, do I really need like another like kind of like stuffy like you don't know the dark power of the
Right.
cool, great.
Yeah.
And then like Constantine, it's like, man, I'm putting like too many like everyman characters on his team. I'm a bunch of like Justice League members sitting around the fucking table like drinking beer. Like I'm not fucking doing that.
See, that was also why I like steered away from Fate. Was I was just like, yeah, I like him as a character, but he also is like when you want to put a league together and have them play together, it's like, what does he bring to the table personality wise? Like powers wise, he's
Nothing.
there, but yeah, otherwise he is just like, oh.
Well, I guess it also depends on what iteration of him you get.
Yeah.
That's true. Also, the other reason I added Zatanna is because on our last Justice League episode where I like forgot to bring my notes and was trying to remember the whole time, I omitted because of that saying that in a movie I want Zatanna to be played by Lucy Lawless, and I wanted to bring that up specifically, so I put her on my team.
I'm down with that.
Yeah. But those are the reasons. And so I feel like I was covering my bases. I have the powerhouses in Wonder Woman, Superman. I have the magic users. I have obviously Batman is just good at everything, and the detective. And then like just a little like fucking fun with Green Arrow. Like come on, and Constantine for that matter.
Yeah.
Let's just not be serious and boring.
I think it's interesting. Before we get to Mike, so far neither one of us has chosen a Green Lantern or a water-based hero.
No, and I was thinking that with Aquaman, who I totally left out. I feel like, okay, like magic and I guess like science-based problems cross over with each other. The League will suddenly be like Superman's like hit by magic, or like a magic user has to deal with some crazy technological contraption they can't get out of. I feel like Atlantean problems never enter the real world. Like, so Aquaman just chases them. Like, that's all there is to it. There's never like, oh, we have like this crazy mission, involving all this stuff while it's underwater. Okay, then just get Aquaman to do it.
Was it San Diego or San Francisco?
Which one?
That went underwater.
Oh no, when they did the Throne of Atlantis, the whole East Coast was flooded.
Did Aquaman deal with it?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, there's no need to like assemble a team. It's like he can just take care of it.
No, he did it with the Justice League.
Oh, he did?
But I feel like if
Because
you're
it was like
gonna,
the whole East Coast.
I feel like if you're
He
gonna,
can handle it.
I feel
he
like-
is basically a god.
well, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like if you're gonna put Aquaman in, it would be more in that powerhouse role, just because of his strength abilities. Like he can't really fly, but he's strong. Like,
Here's the thing. I would have him as like a consulting member. It's like,
I don't know
if
about
we're-
that.
If we're in space, you can stay at home, Aquaman. Like,
oh,
we
put
don't.
him in a spacesuit like you put Batman in, or Superman in some cases in a
But like,
spacesuit.
what is he going to do? If it's like, oh, there's a crisis on Oa, we all need to go and help Green Lantern out. What is Aquaman doing?
That would never happen.
But what is Aquaman going to do?
Also,
There's water on Oa.
I just realized Animal Man's on my team, so I can kind of cheat with that. Like, he could just become a fucking whale.
That's there you go.
Wah.
But if it's like, oh no, yeah, the Eastern Seaboard's crashed. It's like, okay, well, like we have Aquaman's phone number. We'll call him. We'll come join him. We'll form a plan together.
After everything, so you guys like doing anything after this, or?
Yeah. Hello.
My turn, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I bent the rules a little bit.
You
You
piece
monster.
of shit.
I have 9 technically, but
You have
I'll
to kill.
go-
You have to kill 2 of them.
but 2 of
and they
them
have names, so it's gonna be harder for you now.
Two
But-
of them are going to be the first scene of Suicide Squad, where someone
Yeah,
always
somebody's
dies.
head explodes.
Except
but
it's 2 people.
But 2 of them are duos, so I mean I did backups just in case. But so first I have obviously Batman,
Sure.
but I put him with Nightwing in like that sidekick role, just because I feel like I don't know, they just work so well together. Like they have such history and they know each other so well that like if a situation comes up, they can like.
I like having them.
Bounce
I like
off each
having
other.
them together. I feel like the only problem is in a league setting, all the other adults suddenly become like, "Why are you bringing like a kid into this?" Or are you talking about adult Nightwing?
No, I mean Nightwing is in some iterations Nightwing is a full member of the Justice League.
Yeah, but I mean, you were saying having him as a sidekick.
Oh yeah, I mean because
You're just trying to get away with having 2 people. Dick Grayson
Fine.
is dead. You did it, Mike.
What?
He dies first mission. Fucking Starro kills him.
Decapitated.
That's what you get.
Fine, I'll take Nightwing off.
No.
All right,
take
now
Batman
that
off
we've
Nightwing.
bullied you,
Uh-huh.
Well then I'll
it's fun. Keep going. Let's see who else we can kill on your league.
I'll get rid of my other duo then. My other duo was Green Arrow and Black Canary.
I wanted them. Black Canary is one of the ones that I just cut because of numbers, but I did have them both as like members I wanted. Yeah.
Well, I mean, explain. Like, what is your?
Just they're dynamic together. Like they just work so well together in so many different situations because their chemistry is just incredible. Like they just,
I like that. I like the idea of having like a couple on the league.
Yeah.
So I always like like Elongated Man and Sue Dibney.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed.
So I also had Blue Beetle, but Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle
Okay.
with Ted Kord as the man in the chair. So he's not there. He's
Yeah, that I'm okay with. He's not going on missions.
He
so.
gives support.
It's like the current Blue Beetle comic.
Yeah,
Kind of,
yeah, exactly. And then I also had Zatanna for
Okay.
the same reason, just because of her relationship with Batman and the fact that they grew up together for a while and they trained together and yeah. And then I had Firestorm as my heavy hitter,
Okay.
but the Ronnie Raymond Martin Stein, so like classic Firestorm.
Okay.
And then I had Martian Manhunter, just
Yeah.
because it's
I love
fucking
Martian
awesome.
Manhunter,
Yeah.
And then, are we counting Green Arrow, Black Canary as one?
Are they one person? Have they been magically fused together?
Who's the last person that we're going to kill? Oh, it's Guy Gardner.
It was Guy Gardner.
Yeah, we're killing Guy Gardner.
No, let's
Yep.
talk about this.
His head is getting cut off right at the bowl cut, just severed clean through.
Not bowl cut Guy Gardner.
Whatever.
Modern Guy Gardner.
All Guy Gardner is bowl cut Guy Gardner.
Modern
in my
Guy
eyes.
Gardner. I just, even though he and
I love Guy. He's great.
The worst.
even though Batman knocked the shit out of him, I
a little
feel
shit.
like they still do work well together.
That's true. If Batman's on the team and Guy Gardner's on the team, there's a good chance he's going to get punched again. I'm rethinking my position.
Why don't you like Guy Gardner?
He is okay. Actually, I'm like starting to go back on this because I was looking up stuff about him. Why was that?
Because I think you were trying to like prove what a piece of shit he was, and you kept running into like instances where he was like a good superhero.
He's just like a douchebag. I mean, that's his character. He's just like a shitty, like
He's
annoying
full
person.
of himself, but he
Right.
does a good
But
job.
then I was
He's
looking
good at
up-
what he does.
I was looking up his character backstory, and it was like all this heartbreaking stuff about like what a kind person he was, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh crap.
And he wears his ring on his middle finger. It's great.
I like his sweet jacket.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Has pockets. Like Animal Man. See, I keep running him up.
Hey.
Animal Man wears a leather jacket so he can carry his keys. That's practical. He's smart.
Do you think there's nowhere for him to leave his keys on the like
satellite watchtower?
Yeah.
No, it's because in the comics he's always like flying back and forth like his house. And he wears like the spandex leotard. He's like, I can't carry my keys around.
Does he still have the leotard on when he transforms?
Yeah, it's one of those like bullshit superhero things. But like,
If it's a bullshit superhero thing, why can't he just manifest his keys?
Animal Man.
He can't create pocket dimensions, Aaron.
All right, so
He's got
Animal
the
Man
fucking
doesn't
ability.
really.
Man, his leotard
He's
goes
got
there.
the ability.
Animal Man
to
doesn't
become
really
animal.
transform. He just has like the ability.
He just has the
It's a lot like
ability?
Vixen,
Yeah, like
how
Vixen.
she gets the power
The
from
totem.
the amulet.
In the most recent,
Wait, what does that mean? He just has the ability.
like he was like, oh, I want like the strength of a gorilla. He hasn't turned into a gorilla. He's just like
okay.
fucking strong as a gorilla, or he's
Oh,
faster
okay.
than a
You're
cheetah.
thinking-
I thought he transformed.
You're thinking
In-
Beast Boy.
I am thinking
Yeah.
Beast
In
Boy.
the most
They all-
recent comic,
all
it was,
animal-based superheroes look the same to me.
The most recent
Racist.
comics, it was the Jeff Lemire New 52 one.
Yep.
He actually like he took on some of the traits of animals like when he transformed them, and it was like really fucking creepy.
Was it
But-
just like Moana, where he becomes a shark from the waist up? Is that all it was?
Sometimes it was like really freaky shit. It was like really disturbing artwork. 'Cause,
Grew
like,
8 legs.
he'd like grow like fucking like all these eyes. He's like, oh, the power of a spider, and all he'd have like
Better
a
or
spider
worse
face.
than when Spider-Man like gave birth to himself as a spider?
Can
Anyway,
we not ruin this discussion with the other?
Spider-Man
So I mean, I think it's interesting. We all picked Batman for our league.
and
I mean-
Zatanna.
and Zatanna.
I mean,
Yeah.
were we
Yeah.
not? I mean, does that
Power
surprise you though? And we all picked Batman.
no.
No,
Yeah.
that's why I brought it up off the bat, because I was like, because I was like, I feel like we're all just going to devolve to like, so Batman is the best, right?
The Zatanna thing did surprise me though.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Out of all the characters, I wouldn't think. I was like, maybe we'll have like some similarities, but I didn't expect Zatanna to be the second.
Well, I think it's just because when you think magic in the DC universe, she's the first one that, for the most part, comes to mind because she's actual magic. Like we said,
Yeah.
like I said with Constantine, he's more like dark arts, sorcery.
And I like Constantine.
Yeah, he's
and
a cool
You know, just
character.
to make the same point I already made. I like Dr. Fate as well. I just think on like a team like this. I mean, again, going back to Justice League International, their very first mission together. Dr. Fate to me always seems like he's on the team as like a formality or like a favor. The very first Justice League International mission, they're going, and all of a sudden they're like, "Where's Dr. Fate?" Like, "Oh, he left." Like, what do you mean he left? He's like, "Oh, he said you guys got this. He had something else to handle." Like,
Okay.
you don't want that kind of person on the team where it's like, listen, like, I'll handle this bank robbery, but I'm literally dealing with like a fucking planet exploding. So
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like that's always sort of the thing with Superman too. That's just like, okay, is this like a Superman worthy problem? Like he
Yeah.
has a lot of stuff he could be doing. So do we need him for this one, or are we just like going to be writing an excuse for him not to be there because he would solve the problem in 2 seconds?
Like even Dr. Fate, I don't consider a magician. I consider him more like a sorcerer, like on the
Yeah.
same plane. On the same plane as Doctor Strange.
I would
here
consider
what-
both of them magicians. They're magicians and
They're-
sorcerers. That's
I mean, they don't conjure rabbits out of hats. Like they don't like.
not
they don't
like a
say,
prerequisite for being a magician.
Whatever. You
They
know,
both
what
they both like incant to some degree, don't
They-
they?
Zatanna is like an actual like stage magician though.
Right.
Like
Well,
Dr.
and I
Fate's
feel
like the helmet's like a mystical
Yeah.
item passed down.
Well,
like,
yeah, so they're magic users.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the term we need to
I
use.
think
Magic
like
users.
the degree of their magic.
it's different.
I mean,
yeah.
all of them. Yeah, they're
Like,
different
I-
degrees, but they're all magic users.
Yeah, I would consider like Doctor Fate and Doctor Strange to be like deal with more multi-dimensional stuff. Like they draw their abilities from like the multi-dimension and stuff like
I
that.
would see, but I
As
would,
opposed to Zatanna, who's like trained in magic.
right. But I would also put her if I were dealing with an interdimensional problem of a mystical nature, and Zatanna was on the League, I would be like, "Hey, help!" Like she would be the one I would
Well,
go
yeah,
to.
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know.
so
I don't know. I guess like you said, maybe varying degrees of.
I mean, obviously
magic.
we all we all put her on our league. I mean, we all chose her in the end. So
Yeah.
I was curious about.
Do you want to expand out to people that we wanted to include and didn't, since Mike
I've
already
had that.
sort of shoehorned a couple in that we immediately killed?
I'll go first. Like, obviously, I was back and forth on a Green Lantern just because I wanted like a space-based character there. But I feel like I could like cheat a little bit with having like big like one. It's kind of just an idea of like I want to see a Justice League I haven't seen before, and there's always a Green Lantern, there's always like Aquaman, something like that. You never really see like Big Barda, and I wanted like a new god on there because when I like the aesthetic of the new gods, I think it's really neat. She pretty much is a space-based character.
Yeah.
And I liked, having her as opposed to Superman. I put like either Power Girl or her as like my heavy hitter character. And I think Big Barda more so just because I like her design. Yeah. I like her character. I like how she's very. If you really read any of the comics with her and Mr. Miracle, they have a very like switched dynamic from like at the time how comics were.
Yeah.
It's like Mr. Miracle's like a foot shorter than her. And it's kind of like the ha ha ha, and she's like fuck everything. And she like just bursts through walls.
I'll punch Darkseid in his face.
So yeah, like Green Lantern I cut. My two magic users, Dr. Fate, Constantine. I've gone on and on about Dr. Fate, but Constantine I liked, but again, I just don't see him being a team player. On like a superhero league, like Justice League Dark, something where he's like in his wheelhouse is fine, but the Justice League isn't set up to fight demons,
Yeah.
And
see, I was considering him as the sort of role of like the member of the team who's not a team player. Like I feel like that's sort of a trope that's I don't know if it's necessary, but it's often used and has its role as the like I don't want to be here. I don't
like the
want,
rogue,
like the Jessica Jones and Defenders, that like you're all doing this and this is bullshit and I'm gonna do my own thing kind of.
I feel like Booster Gold is kind of mine.
Wild
You can
card.
argue that Batman does that for the most part. Like even though he in some cases forms the Justice League, he's still mostly like a lone wolf. Like he works with other superheroes to get shit
Yeah,
done.
Batman's on so many goddamn teams.
Well, I know, but I'm saying,
Yeah,
but like
he's doing something on a different team. That's why he's leaving. I don't necessarily just mean like doing their own thing or like going off on their own, but I mean being like, okay, like we all have a plan. Like here's how the team is gonna go in and take care of this, and Constantine being the one of like, fuck it, I see an opening, so I'm just gonna like go in. Whereas Batman's like, no, I calculated this out to the nth degree.
I guess
if
in that
someone steps
case-
a toe out of place, I will kill you.
I'm like a fucking Charlie Day wild card.
Yeah,
Charlie Day is Booster Gold.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Now think about it. The high-strung, slightly homicidal. Oh man, Glenn Howerton is Booster Gold.
Well, okay, so and even Booster Gold is that one going off on his own. I feel like he's just going off on his own, like for personal gain, especially like earlier on in his, like personal character arc. Is like anytime he's just like, I'm just gonna do this. It's like, I'm gonna like look good in front of this crowd. It's not.
I feel like I like how the idea of having a redemption character.
Yeah.
On the thing as well, and I feel like Booster Gold that could definitely be his case, especially like, pre New 52. Yeah. Fucking DC and all their goddamn continuity.
hey, could be worse. Could be Marvel.
But like pre New 52 Booster Gold, like near the end of that, like in the 52 miniseries where he was finally like a legit hero with actual stakes and was trying to do good. Like the tragedy of him was he had to like just be a fucking doofus and like his own life. So people were like, oh, no one takes him seriously. No one would ever go back to stop him from doing anything.
Yeah. Well, and see, and that's why, it sort of spun him out as like maybe he's better sort of doing his own thing, or doing him and Blue Beetle doing their own thing.
Who else did you cut from your team?
Well, so I had a couple alternates, and I had a couple that I just cut. Instead of Captain Marvel, who was filling my innocent role, I had Starfire as a maybe. I feel like she's an interesting, like really in the same way that Captain Marvel is, bringing in that sort of like childlike, I don't know, not silliness, but like coming into the team with like, okay, I'm super powerful, but also I like
Kind of
sort
like
of lighten the
naivete.
mood. Yeah, naivete. Yeah, that's a good word.
When you get into that like innocent role, I think it all comes down to what iteration you're looking at.
Sure.
Because again, Starfire in some iterations is like that. In some iterations,
New 52 Starfire? The fucking...
Is she super dark and gritty? I haven't
She-
seen anything with her in New 52.
she
where
fucks
she's
everything.
Like, yeah, on my planet the currency is fuck. Like,
Sounds like a great planet. So that's I had Starfire. I also had some of the ones I cut. I already said Oracle I'd cut and Flash I cut. I did have Black Canary in tandem with Green Arrow. They're, I think, both two characters that are like, I mean, they're good street level heroes, I guess, and like can go a little bit above that. But I feel like when it is like, here's an interplanetary crisis, there's not a whole lot for them to do all the time, but I still feel like they're like valuable members of the team. Yeah. And I think that they're a good dynamic to have together. I also had two weird choices. I had Black Orchid, whom I know
cool.
very little about, but felt like I was like,
why not, right?
I was looking to like cover all my bases, and I was like, what kind of hero, what kind of power set do we not have? And I felt like she was a good fit for that.
Okay.
Alternately, Poison Ivy.
All right.
Just a good like new choice. I was like, I want like new redeemed Poison Ivy on the team.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like
You're taking a hard left turn here.
It is. These were the ones that got cut. They're like the sort of oddball choices.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Like, I would if like that's the kind of role you were filling. I'd probably go like Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Just like that, like nature hero.
Yeah, I can see that. Kyle, why do you hate all women?
Why do I hate all women? My team has Zatanna, Power Girl, and Big Barda on it. I don't know.
3 out of 7, less than the majority.
What's your fucking team? You cut. Not only did you cut Black Orchid and Poison Ivy and
Black
Starfire,
Canary, yeah,
And Black Canary.
fucking misogynist.
What I'm learning from this is DC is sexist.
Yeah.
What?
fucking Brett Ratner over here.
I considered too far. No, I considered making like an all-female Justice League, but A, Batman, and B, I just like couldn't find enough
6 women in Batman. There you
good.
go. Done.
Yeah, no, that's also a fan fiction. No,
Nightwing plus 6 female heroes.
That's true. If I was going to have 6 women in Batman, I would also want Nightwing's ass. So,
So
I feel like we're slightly off.
After me, ladies. Follow my ass.
So we would have
every issue, you know, like every Wolverine issue starts
Girls,
with the same
the ass
quote.
signal is activated.
Every issue of this Justice League ends with like, I hate to see him go, but I love to watch him leave.
Hey, Mike, who do you cut?
Wait, I had one more. The other one I had was Martian Manhunter, which I do want. I like. He's hard to cut. I feel like he is a good, like, incredibly versatile, like, hero with, like, telepathy and just being able to phase through things and
like transform.
Like,
I guess is the word.
shapeshift.
Yeah, shapeshift. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, it's like he's just like almost at a Superman level. Like if you have him on the team, it's like you're kind of making an excuse for him to get incapacitated because he can just do like almost anything.
I like that. I mean, it's another trope, but I like having that character that's kind of like the non-human on the team of humans who's kind of like detached from humanity a bit. Although I feel with the Martian Manhunter, he's been around so fucking long now.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird for them to like have that be his characteristic in the comics. Is he even in the New 52? Is he around?
He was in the New 52. He's not in the Rebirth stuff yet.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was weird because they also got rid of Shazam in the Rebirth. But I'm sure they'll bring them back at some point.
His last comic, he was a real piece of shit, so I'm glad they got rid of him.
Shazam?
Dude, the last Shazam, Curse of Shazam.
Oh, you're talking
Those are
about
the fucking
pre-New 52?
worst.
Pre-New 52?
No, I think that was like when he came in, that was like the miniseries.
No, New 52,
sure?
he was just in the Justice League.
He was still a piece of shit.
Well, I mean,
Billy Batson was a horrible
I was gonna say
New 52.
New 52 Billy Batson was like a little shit. Like
Like, it was Billy Batson supposed to be like, you know, he was chosen because he's like, oh, what a good kid. Like, new Billy Batson's like, yeah, Wonder Woman, huh? Show me your tits.
Yeah,
and like,
he's
that
just
was
like-
the new Billy Batson.
that's not
Fucking
New
asshole.
52 then. That's pre-New
It
52.
was horrible.
no, he was not.
He was like charging people to be Shazam and everything.
No, that's definitely not New 52 then. That's pre-New 52.
Talk about your heroes. I'm
No,
looking this
because
up.
he didn't have his own book in New
Dang it.
52. He had a backup miniseries in like 5 issues of Justice League, and then he was on the Justice League, and that's the only place he was in.
To circle back around while Kyle bings that, I feel like Starfire was sort of my cross between Martian Manhunter and Captain Marvel in the sense that she provides that like innocent, naive role and also that like
Unless she's sleeping with everything in existence.
well, yeah, specifically Dick Grayson.
Mike's right. Yeah, it was 2012.
Yeah.
Hey.
Also, like,
But also she has that alien.
No,
that's
she-
part of her character is the
In the
like,
New
fish out of
52,
water.
in the New 52,
Yeah.
she
I don't care about
I'm
New 52.
letting you
but
I'm
go ahead.
informing you. In
I
the
just
New
wanna
52,
preface-
Starfire had sex with Dick Grayson.
Sure.
Then pretended that she forgot about it. Had sex
As
with
one does.
Had sex with Roy. No, like she pretended that she had amnesia and actually didn't remember it. Had sex with Roy Harper frequently, and then also tried to have sex with Jason Todd on a regular basis. I think they actually might have once or twice.
As an aside that may or may not get cut, but probably will. There was I read the relationship forum on Reddit where people post about their relationship problems. It's great. It's like wonderful trash. And there was a guy who is like, oh, I slept with my coworker and then she got in a car crash and said she like got a concussion and like a head injury and now doesn't remember us hooking up. And everyone was like, so she's fucking lying because she's embarrassed that she slept with you and like doesn't want to have anything to do with you ever again. But he was just like posting it as not even like, is this real? He was just like, how can I like be sensitive to her and I want to do something nice for her, but I don't want to come on too strong. They were
I
like,
have amnesia, but just for dicks. Sorry.
I only
Dicknesia.
forgot people that I slept with. So
Dicknesia is the name of the new Nightwing series.
I thought you were going to say
Read
that's
the
your next
shit out
metal
of
band.
That's been. Oh no.
what were we actually talking about before we went on this tangent about Starfire sleeping?
Oh,
with
what
people?
what I cut from my team.
Oh yes, what?
It
Yeah,
was-
who did you cut other than Nightwing's head off and Guy Gardner's head off?
It was just Nightwing because you guys made me. I actually stuck to the 7, well, 9, but kind of.
I stuck to the 7, except that I didn't.
Well, I guess if I have to count Green Arrow and Black Canary separate, we'll cut Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
So
You
it
were
was
the
just
only
those
one
two.
who put a lantern on there, so
Yeah.
If all
I
right,
just felt it was necessary.
yeah.
what character did all of us like immediately go like I'm not adding that like that archetype onto my team? Like
It was Green Lantern for
who
me.
were you like most willing to get rid of right away?
Superman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think for me it was like I was most willing to get rid of like the Aquaman role.
Yeah, that too.
And also I was thinking like the fucking like Hawk person role like
I mean,
Is that even a role?
well it's,
Yeah,
when I think about
cartoon.
like here it's like I tried to pick characters that could do like a variety of things, like Batman he's a detective but he's also like a martial artist and he's also his things like Flash he's a speedster but he's also a scientist, he also
That's true. That's
I-
sort of what I cut Flash for.
and
is,
like
two one
Hawkman is like characters in that
stuff
role
with a mace.
they just do like one fucking thing
note. Yeah.
like
They yell. Ha!
yeah.
Hawkman, Hawkwoman, I guess, are like the ugly cousin of the Justice League. Like none of the fans want them there. The other Justice League members don't want them there, except for Jon Stewart in some iterations. But like it's just like some author or show creator was like, no, you have to put Hawkman and Hawkwoman in. Hawkwoman, Hawkgirl.
Hawkgirl.
Fuck's her name?
Hawkgirl.
I don't care. I hate her. So I hate them both.
Misogynist.
Yeah. So, but like they just like shoehorned them in, and we're like, okay, I guess we'll do like one Hawk Girl episode or whatever.
I worked with a guy, one of my old managers at the video store I worked with. Like one of his like top 3 superheroes was Hawkman, and it was so weird. He's like, dude, like there's a new Hawkman thing out. Like really?
Yeah, and they just kill him.
Yeah, I'm like, he's just gonna die. It's like, no, he's not. I'm like,
That's sort of his
what
thing.
happened in the last Hawkman comic? Well, he died. But he's back now. He's back again for the first time again.
Well, they had to bring him back so he could die.
Yeah. And like there's been like good Hawkman stories, but he's never the main character of that story.
No.
There's like Ran Thanagar War. I really liked, but that was like an Adam Strange story.
Well, that's the thing. They just put out another miniseries recently.
Death of Hawkman?
Well, before that, there was Hawkman and Adam Strange.
Yeah.
And then, Death of Hawkman.
Yeah. And then it turned into Death of Hawkman. Because DC doesn't.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. That was the same story.
Yeah, they changed the title of Death of fucking Hawkman. Because DC doesn't know what to do with him.
So they just keep doing the same shit. Surprise!
Isn't like fucking what, heavy metal, right? Or metal.
Metal.
Isn't
It's
that like
all about nth metal.
it's all about nth metal and Hawkman isn't there? Or is it there for like a second, right?
They reference their original iterations on Earth, like in ancient times, and like a couple other times throughout history, but not in the current story.
Can you imagine? All right.
I haven't read the whole thing.
Like classic Justice League, right? Hawkman shows up. He's like, "What have you guys been up to?" It's like, "Oh, there's this crazy nth metal thing." He's like,
And you guys didn't fucking call me?
"What?" Like, like that's my deal, right? Like, is it?
Are you sure?
We've like, to be honest, Hawkman, we've never listened to your shit, man. Like,
I forgot you existed
Yeah.
until this moment.
how did you get into the Watchtower? We thought we like took your key away. We changed the locks. No one told you, man.
I feel like my only memory of like I only really know like Hawk Girl from like Justice League Unlimited, really, like in Justice League, and like from the 2 episodes of Legends of Tomorrow that I watched. I feel like the only reason they ever called her in was like they were like, oh well, her mace is magic, I guess, and so anytime they just needed like a magic something to destroy something quickly, it was like, oh well, like we have to bring Hawk Girl. That was like all she ever
Which
did.
she didn't even have when that show started. Didn't she get it like halfway through the show?
Did you?
I don't even remember.
I remember that.
Yeah. I also
Wasn't
remember
memorable.
that I like fully thought that Hawkgirl and Hawkman were like brother and sister or something. Yeah, I only learned that like Legends of Tomorrow time that I was just like, were they always lovers?
They
Was
have
that
a
thing?
very
Were they married?
weird
Were they-
relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, when you
didn't-
get reincarnated 87,000 times,
Very
I guess
flowers
it's
in
bound
the
to
attic.
happen.
So there. Okay, so there was Shaira and Carter,
Yeah.
and then Shaira died, right?
Yeah, then he died.
But he was still alive, and she got reincarnated as.
yeah, then he died.
Hold on, I need
Then
some.
she died again.
No,
And then there were
I need some- hold on,
aliens.
hold on,
No,
hold on.
no.
I need some comics history right now because I don't know why this just occurred to me, but like, in what time period, both in making the comics and in like fictional history, was it okay to name contemporary characters Shaira and Carter? When were those both popular names?
Fucking who knows?
Like,
That wasn't
why
the
doesn't
original
he
Hawk
have?
Girl name, though, was it? Was that the original?
Did she get changed later on?
No.
Hey,
it-
Hawkman fan.
No, because you know what I'm thinking of is
Singular.
Hawkman. Hey,
Ken-
Greg.
One guy used to work
Greg, if you're listening, let us know. Help.
Like, I feel like that's like the creator of Hawkman was just like, oh, well, like this badass warrior Shaira. And then, like, well, my son's name is Carter, and I want to make a superhero whose name is Carter or something.
Then they changed it to be like Qatar Hole. So
Yeah.
Guitar hole?
Qatar.
yeah,
What?
Qatar Holo.
All right. All right.
What time is it?
I feel like we need to wrap this up. We're losing
6.
it. We're losing it.
Well, we're gonna move
Little
into.
bit.
All right, do you want to move us
Oh,
into the last segment, Erin?
Sure. I forgot what it is. Oh, I remember what it is.
Yeah. I'm thankful you remembered something that we've been talking about for months.
Our Thanksgiving special ending segment is going to be talking about the nerdy thing we are thankful for in the last year.
Nerdy things. I have a bunch. You guys go first.
The nerdy thing, singular.
Why don't you just start? Because I only have one. I didn't even write it down.
Okay, I had a bunch of movies listed first of
So
all.
we'll go you, Erin, you, me, you.
I was
Then
pretty.
you, then Mike, then back to you.
I was
then you
pretty
again.
happy. I was pretty happy this year, and I was trying to divide it up into some categories. But all right, I'll just do like umbrella movie wise. I'm happy we got a good Spider-Man film.
Okay.
I'm happy Spider-Man's back with the MCU.
Yep.
And he's like a good actor, and they got the character right. I was happy about Logan. Mm-hmm. I think they kind of like if this is truly Hugh Jackman's final appearance as Wolverine, which, you know, according to him is his last one until they throw $50 million at him.
Sure.
Said, hey, show up in Deadpool for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was a really good send off. I think it was interesting take on a superhero genre. It wasn't even really a superhero film.
Yep.
It was very like a westerny. I'm happy there is a high grossing R-rated horror film with It. For a long time, they said like rated R movies don't make money, and like Deadpool proved that wrong. And that's why they're willing to do stuff like Logan and now New Mutants, which I think is also rated R.
Is it?
I think so.
I don't know.
But no, it like horror movies for a long time where they said PG-13, got to get those kids in there. The kids are the
Yeah.
ticket. And it was a rated R film. It made all of the money. I really enjoyed
Shitload
it.
of money. It made
Yeah.
a shitload of money.
It was the highest grossing R-rated horror film, highest grossing like September release of all time.
Was it just horror? Was it just horror? I thought it was the highest. No, not highest grossing rated horror. Right? That was Deadpool.
I think Deadpool's still the highest grossing R-rated film. And then the movies aren't out yet, but Thor Ragnarok. I'm happy it looks
They
like we're finally.
are out.
Which
Don't
I'm
fuck
go-
up our continuity.
Hey, just joking.
Mr.
I'll
Oh, don't
be-
peek behind the curtain.
I'll be seeing that in 12 hours.
Aw.
Fuck
I'll be
you,
seeing
dude.
it in 3 days, maybe.
For time travel reference, skip
Doodaloo,
forward to episode
doodaloo.
15.
Is
But-
that one not got yet? Oh, I guess not.
Not yet. But no, I'm excited. We're looking at like a good Thor film, and I'm still cautiously optimistic about Justice League. By the time this episode's out, hopefully I've written a review, and hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
So, Mike, Erin,
You want to go first, and then he'll go again, and then I'll go, or do you want me to go and then Kyle and then you?
I don't care what.
I'll go then.
Okay.
So
I only have one thing, so I'll go whenever.
and Grateful
so yes,
Bastards.
like
But but I'm super thankful for it.
I am thankful. I'm just going to pile onto you because I know you wrote down everything that I was probably thinking of anyway. So on top of what Kyle wrote down and just said, I'm happy that I'm thankful that it seems like Nintendo has finally gotten their shit together as far as games go, because it certainly seems like they're coming back as a contender in the games marketplace. For like the longest time, it was like PlayStation and Xbox. So,
Yeah.
Xbox has got Halo and this and this and this, and PlayStation's got Uncharted and this and that and this. And now with the Nintendo Switch, we've got Zelda Breath of the Wild, fucking fantastic game. Super Mario Odyssey just came out, and it's getting incredible reviews. And they've got a lot of other good-looking games, like big publishers that would only work with Xbox or with Microsoft and Sony for Xbox and PlayStation are now working hard to port their games to the Switch. Like,
Do a Nintendo episode.
yeah,
That'd be fun.
like LA Noire, which came out like 2 or 3 years ago, is getting a port to Switch.
I saw that. Yeah, the 4K remaster.
Like,
That's great.
and Skyrim is going to Switch. Like all these big games, because it's an actual competitor now, it's a nice change of pace. Because like before that, everybody's like, oh well, there's the Wii U and the DS, and they re-released all their old games.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
Just like,
it.
but
That's it.
I can play more Super Nintendo things on
Yeah.
the newest console.
Oh, you can buy Legend of Zelda Link to the Past for the 30th time.
Yeah. I mean, which
Like-
I will.
I mean,
but-
yeah, but I won't
also
be happy
heavy.
about it.
Guys, thankful for.
No, I am. I'm thankful that Nintendo has finally pulled their head out of their ass.
Aaron?
No, we're going to you again.
Back to me?
Because you
All
have
right.
18 things, apparently.
Make it quick.
I was really thankful this year. You wouldn't tell from all the other episodes, but
or anything.
this
This
is
is
where I'm getting all the positivity
I was
out
gonna say,
right now.
This is the one time a year, the one, 10-minute period where Kyle's just going to be super positive about things
I'm
that he
gonna be
loves.
positive. I'm going to be positive before Justice League
And then
comes
he's
out.
going to be...
'Cause he's gonna be
back
negative
to being
after
a
that.
curmudgeonly bastard.
Then maybe you'll get some positivity at Christmas,
Star Wars.
No.
and then that's it until next year.
Yeah.
Even when Star Wars comes out, he's just going to be like, Solo looks stupid.
Probably.
Solo looks dumb.
But porgs, Kyle.
Yeah, porgs.
Focus on porgs.
Porgs.
I was just taking a drink of water and almost spit it all over the equipment. So
Hey,
thank
cool.
you, Kyle.
Physical media release. I'm really happy for Mask of the Phantasm on Blu-ray this year.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers Archive has been killing it releasing stuff. They do movies that other studios won't really touch. Things that might not have a big following on Blu-ray, but they put out a really cool Kyle MacLachlan film called The Hidden, which I first taped off HBO in the early 90s, had in my dad's trailer, and then I had to buy a VHS copy of it from a local video store, and I'm happy about that. And also, Suspiria on Blu-ray this year is an excellent Italian horror film, and it has a 4K remaster from Synapse Films.
I'm not thankful for that one. Everything else Kyle said, I'm okay with.
Hey, cool. And they announced Batman the Animated Series for Blu-ray.
Also thankful for that.
So, good stuff. Erin, what's up?
I feel like this has taken a weird segue from things Kyle is thankful for to things that Kyle is name dropping so we buy it for him as Christmas presents.
Nope.
I'm hoping Warner Brothers Archives just starts sending me things in the mail.
That'd be
for mentioning
great.
them so many times. Warner Brothers Archive.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Hey, Microsoft, I'd like the new Xbox One X, please.
I'm
Fucking
sorry, Nintendo.
Nintendo Switch
You just got your fucking hill to die on, man. You stay. You stay.
Dude.
Okay, fine. Nintendo, please send me a Switch.
Yeah, I was going to say I agree with all your Nintendo things in theory and conceptually, but I still have yet to play a Switch just because I don't know anyone who
Yeah,
has
I
one.
haven't either.
And it all looks really awesome, and I am like a little kid pressing my nose to the glass about it, but I don't.
What are you thankful for?
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's my main,
Cool.
the only thing I can think of in the past year. I'm so thankful for Wonder Woman on so many levels. I saw it twice in theaters. I think it was a great movie, even plot wise.
You must not have had a good year. At least I agree with
Wow.
Kyle on
It
stuff.
wasn't fantastic, but Wonder Woman
Well,
was.
I mean,
I was sick in the theater the first time I saw it, and I still enjoyed the shit out of it. I think it was great it was great that DC finally made a good movie, not a movie that was bad, but was yeah, but Ben Affleck was okay, or just yeah, but the soundtrack.
the extended cut was
But
better.
yeah, there was a scene. Yeah, if you watch the director's cut, it was just no, it was just a good, enjoyable film, and it was It was great for marketing stuff because I just like Wonder Woman, and like now I can have more than like a single pair of Wonder Woman underwear that I bought at Sears on sale.
Same.
Like I can I can find other things with Wonder Woman on. There is finally an iteration other than what's her fucking name? Linda Carter.
Linda Carter.
Yeah, like she finally has another adaptation.
Rosario Dawson.
What?
Rosario Dawson did
The
voice
voice,
a couple
yeah.
times.
Oh, okay. But I mean, okay, live action. As opposed to Batman's like 37 and Superman's billion. Actually, I think Batman has more.
Batman has like, what, 10? No.
Anyway, we finally got a second one for Wonder Woman. I'm happy about that.
I'm also very grateful for that. I think it's the one thing we haven't said about the movie, but I think it is important that like Wonder Woman proved like a female superhero film, one can be good, and
Can be made, period.
Can be made.
And then can be good.
and can like make a lot of money. And I think it's crazy DC did it first.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fitting. It's fitting because Wonder Woman,
yeah.
she's like the.
Right. Female superhero.
You know.
She's the flagship.
But Marvel has been dragging their feet so goddamn long with the Black Widow movie, and it's never gonna happen.
yeah, and they've
Even
been,
Captain
and they've
Marvel,
been
look
so,
how long
Captain
that's
Marvel
taken
is like.
Look at how long
yeah,
that's
they've been
taken
so,
them.
it won't make money. And they don't have anyone as iconic, but still it is just like, it is sort
No,
of,
especially when they turn them into assholes like
well,
Captain
and
Marvel.
It is remarkable that like DC took the lead on that, other than like waiting for Marvel to do it and then just like trying to copy whatever they did.
But I'll agree, it's really cool to go into like like a Walmart or Target or even like a Toys R Us and see like tons of like Wonder Woman shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Like shields
Still.
and swords
Still.
and like action figures, and I'm glad that DC found that one thing.
And that they did it. They made her a badass, and they didn't make her dark and gritty. I also really appreciated that about it. It was like, oh, like DC had a success, and it wasn't just like how grimdark edgelord can I be. It was just like, I don't want to say wholesome, but yeah, that brand.
She definitely had that. It reminded me a lot of the first Captain America movie,
Yeah.
where she was happy to be doing what she was doing.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm gonna go fucking like be a defender of the human race and stand up for people and be like a source of good in the world.
Right, and that is what I like in here, and like that's what I like in Captain Marvel. That is like someone who's just like, I'm a good person and I want to help people, and like that's why I'm a hero.
Yeah,
Where
it's
they're
not
just
fucking
like,
Zack Snyder's Superman. He's like,
Yeah.
Lex Luthor, I'm gonna fucking laser your dick off, man.
it has been a long time since I saw Man of Steel. Did that happen?
It was weird.
What was it in that weird fast slow mo?
Wonder Woman is good, but I mean, she didn't kill 20 million people in a city.
She didn't
Twice.
laser anyone's dick off. I mean,
No, just the once. The second time they made a point of saying, "Oh, the city is empty."
yeah.
That fucking movie.
I'm thankful for Wonder Woman. We're staying positive. Kyle, what's your last grouping of things you're thankful for?
I'm very thankful for the Justice League International Omnibus came out this year. It collects like 50 fucking issues of Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Guy Gardner, Martian Manhunter, Batman.
Don't you already have a Booster Gold omnibus?
All right, I think we're gonna end it there before Kyle commits murder.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone! Hey, Erin, go fuck yourself!
Hey, everybody. If you enjoy listening to the Sleepy Nerds podcast and want to hear more from us, you can follow us on Facebook at Sleepy Nerds Podcast, on Instagram and Twitter at Sleepy Nerds Pod, and can also subscribe to us on YouTube, Podbean, and iTunes.